Hello my sewing friends, welcome to Sew with Bumi. If you are new here, you're specially welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by again. In this video, I'll be showing you everything you need to know about a sewing machine as a beginner. I'll be showing you the parts of a sewing machine, their function, how to thread a sewing machine, how to pedal a sewing machine manually and electrically, how to use a sewing machine to sew for the first time as a beginner, how to maintain your sewing machine by oiling your sewing machine, cleaning your sewing machine. So this video is a complete A to Z guide for beginners on sewing machine. So if this is what you're interested in, please watch to the end so that you don't miss out on any important information. Don't worry if the sewing machine I'm using for this illustration is not the sewing machine you have at home, because basically the parts of a sewing machine and the technique by which sewing machines work are practically similar. Let's dive right into the video. Okay, so this is a black edge sewing machine and this is the machine we'll be working with. Let's familiarize ourselves with the part of this sewing machine. If you understand the parts of this machine, you'll be able to understand parts of any other sewing machine because they're usually very similar. So first thing first is the balance wheel. This balance wheel is very important because it controls other parts of the sewing machine. So this balance wheel should always be turned towards you, okay? The balance wheel should always be turned towards you like this, okay? Towards you. Do not do this. Don't turn it away from you. Do not do this, okay? It should always be turned towards you. And you can see that it controls other parts of the sewing machine because you see that as I move it towards me, my needle, okay, as I'm making the movement, you can see that my needle is moving also. Okay, you can see that my needle is moving as I'm moving the balance wheel towards me, and also as I'm moving the balance wheel towards me also, my foot pedal is also moving. As you can see the movement. You can see that my foot pedal is also moving even as I'm moving the balance wheel. So this is the bobbin winder compartment. This is where you wind your bobbin, okay? This is where you thread your bobbin. This usually gets spoiled after a while, so it doesn't really last. So my mom gifted me this sewing machine. Thank you to my mom, and she has had it for like 10 years. So this bobbin winder area is no longer working. But the function of this area is to wind the bobbin. I'll also show you how to do it, okay? I'll also show you how to do it, but I'll also show you what to do if this area of your sewing machine is not working. So the next thing now is our spool pin, and this is where you put your thread when you're sewing, okay? This is where you put your thread when you're sewing. So this is our stitch regulator, okay? It has some numbers. For mine, I have 6, 7, 8, 10, and so on. So this area, you can move it up, you can move it down. So this area is your stitch regulator, okay? If you take it to the upper part, it means you want to reverse, okay? You want to reverse your stitches. When you take it up, you want to reverse your stitches. So if you take it to the lowest point, it means you want a very loose stitch, okay? And if you take it further up, it means you want a tighter stitch. So basically this area regulates the length of your stitches, okay? It regulates the length of your stitches. So this stitch regulator area determines the tightness or the looseness of your stitch depending on what you want and depending on what you're sewing, okay? And when you take it to the very end, it means you want a reverse stitch. So as you go further, you have your thread guide. So this is your thread guide where you pass your thread when you are trying to thread your sewing machine. So this is the thread take up lever, okay? And as I turn the balance wheel towards me, it moves. So it moves the thread, up and down, even as we sew. And then this is your tension regulator, okay? This regulates the tension of your thread. So this is also a thread guide. It guides your thread, okay? So as you go further down, this is your needle bar. This is your needle bar. The needle bar holds the needle compartment, and this is your needle clamp. This clamp helps to hold the needle in place. So when you turn this area I'm holding, you can tighten the needle or loosen the needle. And then this is your pressure foot. This is your pressure foot, and underneath is your feed dog. Feed dog moves when I move my balance wheel. Okay, so this is your feed dog, and it helps your fabric to move when you are sewing. So when you go towards the back this way, you have a pressure foot lever. Okay, you can put it down and you can take it up. And what does it do? It's responsible for lifting and dropping this pressure foot. So if I put the pressure foot lever down, you can see that the pressure foot is down. So it's what you use to control the pressure foot. If I raise the pressure foot up, you can see that it's up. You can see that it's up. If I put the pressure foot lever down, you can see that the pressure foot is down. So that is what you use to regulate your pressure foot. Okay. Apart from pedaling this machine manually, you can also use electricity. You can use a electric motor to pedal this machine, which is what this is for. Okay, to make your work faster. So I use this. So once you want to use the electric motor, this is the electric motor here. Okay, this is the electric motor here, just at the back. Okay, let me give you guys a full look. Okay, so this is the motor. This is the electric motor. So it doesn't usually come with the machine. You can just buy it separately, okay, and attach the motor. And then when you are ready, you attach this belt to a particular portion of the motor at the back, the electric motor at the back. It also comes with a foot pedal. So this is the foot pedal if you want to pedal your machine electrically. Okay, or foot pedal has two plugs. This one to your socket, okay, and this part you plug it to this part, and then that's how you pedal this machine electrically. Okay, we also have the slide plate. Okay, this is slide. You can slide it. You can see the way I'm sliding it. And if you go further in, this is the bobbin compartment. I hope you can see it clearly. Okay, this part is the bobbin compartment where you put your bobbin and the bobbin case. Okay, all right. So now that we are done with the part of the sewing machine, let me show you how to pedal a sewing machine. Once you move the balance wheel towards you, I told you that once you move this balance wheel, this moves and the foot pedal also moves. What you do is that you start moving this. As you move this, the foot pedal is moving. Place your foot on the foot pedal. Don't put your weight on it, and then pick up the movement the way it's moving. Just pick it up and start moving that way. So once you move this balance wheel to yourself, okay, the foot pedal will also move. So just follow that movement with your leg and you pick it up from there. Okay, you pick it up from there. So the first thing to learn is how to pedal this sewing machine forward. How to pedal the sewing machine forward. So what you do is just don't put any thread, don't put anything, just get a paper or you can get a fabric. So you raise your pressure foot lever up so that your fabric can be placed underneath. Remember, if the pressure foot lever at the back, if it's not raised up, if it's down, nothing can go in. Okay, nothing can go in. As you can see, nothing can go in. So you have to raise your pressure foot lever up. After raising your pressure, you place your fabric and then you place it back down. Okay, so that it's tight. Okay, and after that you start to move the balance wheel towards you. Okay, and then you pick it up with your foot and then you move. So you have to learn how to be able to move this. So you have to learn how to be able to move this forward. Always move it forward. Okay, you have to learn how to always move forward. It might be difficult. It might be difficult in the beginning, but don't give up, because I remember when I was learning I will move it and it will go backwards. Okay, instead of it to go backward, instead of it to go forward, as you can see. Okay, it will go backward instead of it to go forward, as you can see. And once your machine has been threaded, if you do that and it's not intentional, like you don't intentionally move this to do it, your thread will cut. Okay, so the first thing to know about a sewing machine is to learn how to pedal this sewing machine. Learn how to make it go forward, learn how to sew straight, and all of that. So after learning how to, move the sewing machine forward, then you understand how to pedal a sewing machine. So now let's go on to threading this sewing machine. So this is your bobbin, also called a reeler, okay, and this is your bobbin case, also called a shuttle, as you can see. All right, so this is your bobbin, this is your bobbin case. If this was empty and you wanted to reel your thread to it, okay, what you do is you just take your thread and just tie just a bit to the bobbin, okay, just take it a bit, all right, round your bobbin, just as you see me do. Just take it a bit round your bobbin as you see me do, and then you attach it to this point, okay, attach it to this point. Remember I said mine is not working. So on the normal, when you attach it to this point, you're supposed to hear a clicking sound to show that it has, is well placed. All right, and after doing that, I'm supposed to just place this, supposed to be placed in the middle like this, okay, to be placed in the middle just like this, and then you attach this. We have a spool pin up here. There's always another one here, but I can't find mine, so I'll just use this to represent another spool pin. So I'll put this here. So now you're supposed to place the thread, okay, on this spool pin. Supposed to place the thread on this spool pin. Once you place your finger here, you're supposed to go backwards a bit, and then you just start pedaling with your foot, using your hand to control the thread, okay, and it's then supposed to just start reeling your thread into the reeler. So this is just the process of doing it. Mine is not working, but I just use this to explain the process of how it works. So let me show you how I reel my own thread, since my bobbin winder compartment is not working. What you do is you just take your thread and just tie just a bit to the bobbin, okay, just take it a bit, all right, round your bobbin just as you see me do. Just take it a bit round your bobbin as you see me do. You can get a nail, a needle, something. So I use this, okay, so I'll just place my bobbin into it like this, okay, with the thread facing me. You can see the thread is facing me, okay, and then I'll just throw my thread on the floor. Make sure your environment is neat. I'll just throw my thread on the floor. So I'll place it towards the balance wheel just as you see me do, and then I'll start pedaling, okay. So you can see that it's already reeling my thread. So you just use your hand to control the thread, okay. Use your hand to control the thread as you reel. So you place your bobbin into the bobbin case like this, okay, and then there is a guide here where you're supposed to pass. You can see this mark, this guide where you're supposed to pass your thread, okay. So you pass your thread through that guide, okay, and then you can see it follows, there's another guide, so you follow that guide so that it comes out here. Can you see? Let me do it again so that you guys can understand. Okay, let me bring it closer. Bobbin into your bobbin case, okay. You can see this thread guide here, and you see that this thread guide, it continues this way and it ends here. So your thread is supposed to come out at this point. So now let's pass. So you pass it through that thread guide, and you ensure that it's moving. You drag it, okay. You drag it and you ensure that it's moving. It should not be too tight, it should not be too loose, okay. That's why when you are filling your bobbin, make sure it's not too full, because if it's too full, when you are pulling it, it will be stuck, it will not move, okay. So you pass it through the thread guide and then you come out just as I've shown you. You should hear that sound. Okay, and then you place it in the bobbin compartment. You slide your slide plate, okay, and you go underneath. You go underneath, all right. You go underneath, and then you place your bobbin in. You can see this. You can see a guide here. There's also a guide here where this is supposed to stay. Okay, that's how you know you have placed your bobbin case properly. So just place it in, and then you can see this place must meet at this point. Okay, you can see that it has. Okay, you can see that this part is inside this space. Okay, let me take it out. So you put it in that way. Make sure it's inside that case. Okay, all right. So now let's thread our machine. We have done the lower part. Place your thread on your spool pin, just as you see me do. Okay, and then you take this thread around the sewing machine this way, just as you see me do. Take it around the sewing machine. You can see, after you have taken it around the sewing machine, just like you see me do, you pass it through the first thread guide. Okay, pass it through the first thread guide. You can see the thread guide. This is the first thread guide. You can see I've passed it through. After you have passed it through, you then pass it through your tension regulator. Okay, you take it to the back, and then you pass it through and come back in front. Okay, I hope you can see. So you can see where my thread is coming out from. Okay, this is where my thread is coming out from. Okay, and after that you have done that, you then pass it through the take up lever. All right, so just watch. So you just pass it through the take up lever this way, and bring it out. Bring your thread out. Okay, and once you have done that, once you have passed it through this take up, you then pass it through the next thread guide. So this is the next thread guide. Okay, after you have passed it through the next thread guide, the next thing to do is to then pass it through the needle compartment. So I'm trying to raise my needle up. Okay, and then take my needle up. After taking my needle up, you pass it through this. You see that there's another guide here. Pass it through that guide. After you have passed it through this thread guide, okay, and then pass it through your needle. You can see how I'm passing it through my needle. I'm passing it from like this, from this. I'm passing it this way. You're not supposed to pass it this way. Okay, don't do this. Do not pass it this way. You're passing it from this side. Okay, I'm taking it through that thread guide. Okay, and then I'm passing it from this side. You just pass it through your needle. Okay, and then you pass it out. Pass it out. It out. You turn your balance wheel. You turn it so that the needle can go down to pick the thread in the bobbin compartment. Okay, so once I raise it up now, you see that it has picked it. Can you see? It has picked the thread in the bobbin, and you just bring it out too. Okay, so you should have two threads, one up and then one down. So now let's sew something. Okay, let's sew something. So now let me show you how to sew your first fabric. Okay, so once you're ready to sew and you have done the threading, both the upper, okay, and the lower, just as I've showed you, you raise the pressure foot lever up, and then you insert your fabric. After inserting your fabric, you place the pressure foot lever down. Okay, just as you see me do. And after that, you turn the balance wheel. Okay, you turn the balance wheel so that the needle can touch your fabric. Okay, as you see me do. And then you take all the threads to the back. Just watch me. You can see. And after doing that, run a few stitch forward. Okay. After you have done that, your stitch regulator, you take it back up so that you can have a reverse stitch, so that the stitch can go backwards. Very important, so that you lock in your stitches and your stitches doesn't lose. Okay. So now you continue pedaling, but this time around it will go backwards. Okay, this time around it will go backwards because our stitch regulator is up. Okay, so after taking it backwards, you now take it back to your stitch regulator and you bring it down. Okay, so that you can continue going forward. All right, so you do that and you can see it's black going forward, and then you continue sewing what you want to sew. Depending on what you want. Okay, continue sewing what you want to sew. Continue sewing what you want to sew. All right, and once you are done sewing what you want to sew, take the stitch regulator upwards, and then you sew, you lock your stitches too. Okay, by going backwards. Okay, so you go backwards. Okay, and that's how you lock your stitches, and then you come back forward. You take your stitch regulator down, and then you come back, and then you come back forward. Okay, and then you are done. Okay, so look at what we have. You can see that I locked my stitches at the beginning and at the end. All right. Okay, let me show you how to oil your machine, because it's very important that you oil this machine so that the machine can work properly, so that there's no friction. Okay, so it's very important that you oil your machine. I would advise that you oil your machine every other day, every alternate day you should oil your machine, but it's still dependent on how much you use your machine. If you know you use your machine a lot, then I would advise that you oil your machine daily once you're done. But if you know you don't really use your machine, then you can do every other day. Just make sure you oil your machine. It helps the machine, the sewing machine, to work properly, to function well. So how do you oil your machine? There are holes. There are a lot of holes on our sewing machine. You can see this big one here. Okay, you can see another big one here. You have a lot of, you can see holes. You can see a lot of holes on our machine that you can, you're supposed to oil those areas. Okay, so, and all you need is just 1 drop, 1 to 2 drops, okay, of your lubricating oil, your machine oil. So let's go ahead to oil this machine together. So just apply 1 drop or 2 into those holes on your sewing machine. If you found this video helpful, please give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube can push this video to everyone who needs it. Also leave a comment if this video has been of any help in any way. You also want to oil this tension area. Okay, you want to oil the tension area. You want to oil this stitch regulator area. Okay, then you want to oil this area so that I can get to the bobbin compartment. Okay, very important. You also want to oil these areas. Okay, just a drop or 2. All right, a drop or 2. Once you are done oiling the machine, you go ahead to clean your machine too. All this will help your machine to function properly and to last longer. If you are a beginner and you want to kickstart your sewing journey at the comfort of your home, then you should watch this playlist.